Hello everyone, today we are looking at one of these. This is just a white box to some of you, but to the untrained eye this is in fact a Ford P1000. I think last week I did a video about the P2000. I think I got a P4000 somewhere as well, and some other Ford badged up stuff. But if you're a regular to the channel and you're a subscriber and you guys know your phones, you'll know that this is in fact just a basic Motorola. But for some reason Ford decided to start selling Motorola's as their own sort of Ford badge phones, I guess, back in the day. I think someone commented that there was also a Buick phone the other day. I saw a comment on one of my videos. Evidently there was a Buick phone. I can't obviously validate that because I don't know myself, but I mean, I guess Buick also tried to get into the cell phone market when they sold cars. I mean, this is not uncommon, because if you think about it nowadays, you know, cars have Bluetooth and you know, wireless sort of connection with your cell phone. I guess them selling you a phone back in those days when there was no Bluetooth was kind of the same thing almost. So, but anyway, if you liking your phones, don't forget to check out some of my other videos, and don't forget to subscribe before we get into this. So let's take a look inside and see what you got when you bought one of these back in the day. So you got a nice little manual, and unlike most times when I just toss the manual away to the side, this one is actually worth looking at because it's got some useful information in it. Not only because I've got the lock code and the security code and whatnot, but there is actually some clever explanations in this manual for people that don't know much about cell phone technology and just the way it works and the concept of actually having a wireless phone. Back in the day, it was a new concept for a lot of people. I guess nowadays it's kind of the norm. You know, you see 12-year-olds with cell phones now, or 10-year-olds even, so it's kind of de facto nowadays. But anyway, this is what they sort of illustrated back in the day, and they go into a bit of detail about how the country's divided into little cells and hexagonal shapes and whatnot. I'm not going to read you any of that because obviously you can do your own research. But all of this is still true. The way it works, obviously it's a lot more modern nowadays, and the actual areas are a lot smaller, but just because of capacity. But I think in the back of the booklet they're on about the cell size being like 20 kilometers to 2 kilometers in size. I think nowadays that's nowhere near true, because 2 kilometers is a lot of space, and it's near in congested areas it's probably a couple of 100 meters. Certainly in London, there's cells, you know, 6-7 meters up above the pavement, just for capacity. But anyway, useful little manual. It's got some neat pictures. This phone is obviously out of the UK because there's reference to Cellnet and Vodafone, and it's got the big chunky charger in with a 3-pin. You got a nice little picture of the phone as well. What else we got? And some illustrations on how to take the battery off and put the car accessory in. It's saying that you got to have your car switched on for it to work, obviously. Because I guess back in those days, car kits took a lot of power. Certainly, I remember having the 6000X in a friend's car, and he always said, "Nah, you got to have the engine on to make a call, dude." But anyway, lots of info there. I didn't read all of this just purely because I think a lot of it is relevant nowadays, but there is such a thing called command mode. Not too sure what that is. I think that's to do with the voicemail box, which nowadays is kind of de facto common as well. Back in those days, that was a real huge seller. And it says here, the message system can keep up to 15 90-second messages for 72 hours. Woohoo! Great! Anyway, so let's take a look inside then. You got obviously the desktop cradle. Oh, this is what was rattling earlier as well. If you guys spotted that. You got the desktop cradle. Not sure if this is the overnight or not, because I don't know this particular reference to Motorola. But and you got obviously the matching wall charger. This is 3-pin, obviously, because it's out of the UK, and that will plug straight into the desktop cradle. If you're a fancy guy like me, back in those days, you had the dual one, and this obviously was for 2 phones or 2 batteries, or 1 phone and 1 battery simultaneously, and you had a nice little five color LEDs which showed you how far the battery is charged. This was a real neat charger. I still use this today. This is the IntelliCharge TM something or other, but it's a dual dock. And the transformer for this, I just dug it out because I wanted to show you guys. The transformer for this is absolutely astronomical. This is the transformer. Now I appreciate this thing shouldn't really be in there, so ignore this guy, but this is the actual transformer, and this is huge in size. I mean, that's like almost football size, I guess, and it's quite heavy as well. But anyway, I dug that out just purely because I knew I had it. I use this regularly, the dual dock. Well, not regularly, but I use it to charge up some of the batteries, just to keep them ticking over. And I thought I'd show you guys because I don't think many people have seen dual dock. These are apparently quite rare. Show were also an aftermarket accessory. They didn't ship any phones with the dual dock. But anyway, let's look at take a look at the phone. Show you what else there is in the box. I don't think there is actually anything, just the battery, which is what I was looking for. Now unfortunately this is a Duff battery. Actually, I ain't going to use that. In fact, I ain't even going to use the one here as well. I am going to use, I dug one out earlier, this one here. This is one I bought a few years back. This unfortunately doesn't hold a charge anymore, I don't think. No. So what we'll do is we'll use my trusty old battery eliminator. If you guys don't know what this is, if you're new to the channel, you will recognize, well, if you're not new to the channel, you'll recognize this. If you're new to the channel, this is a battery eliminator. Battery goes on one side, phone goes on the other, and it makes the phone that much chunkier. If you haven't seen this in action, check out one of my other videos. The video about, I think, the Ultra Digital, which I did quite some time ago. So let me get this right. This goes in like so, and then the battery slots in like so. But the spring cap on here is broken by the looks of it, so I'm gonna have to sticky tape the battery on. But anyway, it's good enough to power on, and this obviously the other end plugs into a car charger socket type thing. And I've got an adapter which has a hole, which obviously I plugged that into. So let's fire this baby up and see what we get. Nice bright dual line display there. Now right off the bat it says no service, obviously, because this is analog, and this used to operate on ETACS, or TACS, but before it became ETACS, enhanced TACS. This phone has some nifty features, but it's all sort of pretty clunky in terms of driving the menu and whatnot. I'm going to take the battery off just purely because I don't want to hold it. This should still work. So what I can show you is a couple of things. Recall pound, that gives you the phone number that used to be programmed into this phone, kind of all standard with the Motorola stuff. But I read the manual, and I learned how to program up how to actually put a number in, and I'm just trying to work out how to recall it. So I presume to do recall and then 1, which hopefully will display, there we go, brick phones, and then the number. But I put that number in. I'm going to try and remember if I can actually remember how to put it in. So say we do just 1-800 100 1000 for argument's sake. And then we would go, what do? We do name, and then you get the alpha, and then you go. The dumb thing about this is you got to type each letter in individually and then push forward. So not like the predictive text you get nowadays. So this would have taken absolutely ages to put numbers in. But you got, and I think then it's, what is it, end, or is it store? Store. And then location 1, I think it is. Or is it end? I'm not even sure, I don't remember. Okay, store, end 1. Something like that. No, maybe not. Maybe I should read the manual again. There's my attention span for reading a manual. But anyway, this thing is real neat because it's got two-line display, and it's a real nice dot matrix LED display. And I don't know if this will zoom right in, but I mean, look at that. That's real nice. And it's nice and bright as well. And this phone ain't in bad shape either. There's not really much else I can show you. Function shows you the battery level. Obviously there's no battery because this is supplying the power, but it obviously thinks the battery is charged. Volume, if you press that down, obviously it changes the volume. I think it's function volume changes the ringer. Someone asked me about this recently actually, and I didn't have the answer to it, but it's just function volume, and that changes the ringer. There is only one ringtone for this, surprise surprise. No fancy ringtones, no polyphonic ringtones, none of that 50-cent malarkey you guys have as ringtones, or the drum and bass that you guess. Someone phoned me up, and I was talking to them, and this drum and bass tune just started blazing out. And I was like, what the heck is that? I was like, oh yeah, it's my other cell phone, it's just ringing. And this guy had some drum and bass track on, as a ringtone. I was like, Jesus, come on, dude. So, but anyway, not sure what else I can show you. Pretty basic this, but it does work. It's got its quirks. If you got any questions about this, obviously, drop me a comment. I do have the manual, and this is in pristine condition as well. One thing I will show you actually, I forgot actually, is this. Now, most people think that hole is for the microphone. In fact, even I thought that, but actually that is the ringer. And I'll show you this in a minute. Function that. So you cover that, and obviously the sound gets muffled. Why they put the ringer in the microphone place, I do not know. But they did the same thing with the old MicroTACS, the DPC range of phones. If you guys don't know what that is, check out my videos on some of them. This is an old school MicroTAC. The old school MicroTACs, when I say old school, I mean the ones with the bigger barrel thing here, and with the funny rubber keypads. And actually, the ringer itself was also this and this. I'm guessing that was a microphone hole, but this particular hole and that hole was the ringer. And this is as far as I know, the only MicroTAC that actually has the ringer in the flip next to where the microphone should be. It beats me why they did it. I'm not too sure. Maybe it was just some guy at Motorola thought he'd be clever or not. I'm not too sure. But I guess maybe that hole is the microphone there. And this is the ringer. I guess there's no other holes for the microphone, so it's a little bizarre, but I guess back then they had their reasons for it, I suppose. Not sure why. If you guys know, drop me a comment. If you used to work for Motorola, drop me a comment. Let me know. But anyway, if you like the phone of the video, give me a thumbs up as always. And I got some good news for you guys as well. If you watched the video so far, I'm going to give away another Nokia 9300 once I reach 1500 subscribers. That's not much, given I think I'm about 1430, something like that, 1440 maybe. And I'm hoping to do it right on Easter. I think I'll probably get another 50 odd subscribers by then, hopefully. Sit tight. I'm going to tell you how you guys can win that little tiny competition that you guys are going to have to do. But it is a free phone, and I ship worldwide. So, with the exception of a couple of countries like Nigeria and whatnot, I ship worldwide. So, but anyway, stay subscribed. If you ain't subscribed, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, and give me a thumbs up if you like the phone or the video. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.